Hello, my name is Norman Younger. I deal with accountancy practices like yours, from the smallest to some quite large ones on a daily basis. And as you're probably aware, the accountancy profession is grappling with change at the moment, and it's not going to get easier for many practices. So, have you considered how it might affect you? In 2014, I talked about this, and the title then was Sink, Swim or Sail, Will Your Practice Make It to 2020? These challenges, which were on the horizon then, are a reality now, hence my title of 2030. The questions are as relevant as ever, and more sole practitioners are throwing in the towel. So, we're at a tipping point. What about your practice? So let's see what is confronting us right now. We've got technology, whether it's doing accounts directly in the cloud, whether it's MTD, communications. The clients will expect to have fast communication from you. People haven't got the patience to wait 2 or 3 days for a call back. They might want to see things from you all the time coming out of social media. And they're looking at what other people are offering and they're saying, well, why is my accountant not doing this? Working hours, the 9 to 5 is long gone. So client wants your weekends and the evening. What are you going to do about it? Client demands, apart from the above two communication and working hours, they just want more and more out of you. They want answers which you may not be able to provide them with, and they want everything done quickly. They want it done yesterday. Commoditization. The routine tasks are becoming more and more routine. People are out there saying, well, we'll do it cheaper. And external investors is an interesting one because there is a wall of money coming into the profession which is forcing many accountants to think about whether they want to stay in practice, take the money and run. And it is edging up valuations, but it also means that there is money locally going into practices, which means that your competitors might be getting the edge on you because they're getting the investment, which is part of consolidation within a city, within a region perhaps, as the new breed of consolidators with private money trying to build themselves a niche perhaps in say, for example, the Manchester area or the East Midlands, put together a number of practices and eventually sell it on and fund their pension. Staff demands, it's getting harder than ever to be an employer. Social media, it's something which, if you haven't got it yet, very often you will struggle to cross that line and get there. I don't do social media, but I have embraced LinkedIn and I've realised that, strictly speaking, it is social media, though I prefer to refer to it as business media. And the basis for charging, clients don't necessarily want to be charged by the hour. Fixed rate perhaps is what needs to be looked at. Perhaps it's going to be based on their profits. The traditional basis will be coming under further attack as new entrants find different ways to charge their clients. And of course, the old chestnut, value added. Clients want to know, well, what are you doing for me to make it worth paying your fee? And regulations, money laundering is the classic one. MTD forcing more and more pressure on clients and in turn on accountants. So, how should you react? Well, it's easier to do it incrementally. Make a list of what you need to do and take it a step at a time. Or you could ignore it all, or change radically and overnight wave the magic wand and decide to reinvent yourself. Maybe the answer is to merge with other firms, safety in numbers perhaps, or bring outside investment, embrace the private equity. Specialisation is always the best way to stand out from the crowd and is usually the most lucrative, but you may not have any specialism to sell. Is it worthwhile becoming a specialist? Or you could just run down the clock. You haven't got so long to go to retirement. Make hay while the sun shines, depending on your client profile, and just put up the shutters or see what you can get for your practice without having to jump through too many hoops. And of course, exiting the profession entirely, which means you get rid of your practice and you don't stay on as a consultant or anything of that nature. Doing nothing is really not an option. To watch a practice, to watch something you may have built up over a lifetime decline slowly is soul destroying. And as the process goes on, your clients will typically be poached or they will drift away. And essentially the value of your practice will vanish. So how do we embrace the change? We can find out what's actually going on out there. Nowadays the conferences are more virtual than the traditional Accountex exhibitions and such like. You could join a group of accountants, a trade body so to speak. You could take a strategic view of, well, where do I want to be in 5, 10, 15 years time? Do I want to be in a profession? Am I up for the fight? But it's important, if you are going to change, to take a proper strategic view and work out the way to do it. And then the plan which comes out of the strategic review needs to be implemented, not just drawn up, but it has to actually have value by taking place. You may wish to consider a mentor. There are business coaches out there in the wider world, and they do exist for the accountancy profession as well. They're not cheap, but the right ones are definitely worth the money. And you'll have to experiment a bit. There's all sorts of changes you can make to your practice. Some of the things we've discussed earlier on, whether it's pricing, might be staffing arrangements. Post-COVID, it could be virtual office, working from home. Try it, see what works. And because you will need to invest in technology. It doesn't have to cost a fortune, but most of the investment is probably a mindset and putting aside the time to learn to use technology properly. It's not just a case of subscribe for the software, and then just bumble your way through it. Spend time, understand what it can do for you, go on the forum, talk to technical support, and it makes a big difference. And I'm here speaking from experience. Collaborating is good, whether it's with the local practice without a formal arrangement to join together, whether it's talking to other professions, perhaps the legal profession, perhaps it's getting involved in the investment side of things. Talk to others, be part of your strategy, and definitely consult with your staff. You need your staff to be with you on the journey. And whatever you do, do not alienate clients in the process. You might turn yourself into an online technological whiz practice, but not every client's going to want that. You really need to consider how to keep them happy while it happens. So the question is, are you really up for the challenge? It really is all or nothing, because you can't do this half-heartedly. If you're not up for it, maybe you need to change your career. As I said before, I talk to a lot of accountants, and a number of them are looking at changing their career. Obviously, your age will have a bearing on this. Maybe it is time to retire. There's plenty of things you can do in retirement, whether it's consultancy, whether it's just enjoying what you've always enjoyed but doing more of it, or charity work. Is it time to work for somebody else? Perhaps get a job on pay-as-you-earn, get a full-time job. It may not pay you as much, but going home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon without the worries might be worth it for you, certainly in the short to medium term. But don't delay the inevitable, because the longer you put it off, the value of your practice will erode. If you're not sure, why don't you give me a call? There's a lot to discuss. I've been involved in practice brokerage since 2007. Before that, I was dealing with a lot of accountancy practices from 1994 through my Business Formations Direct. So for the last 27 odd years, I've been talking to accountants on a daily basis. And I talk to the investors in these practices. The private equity, they call me on a regular basis several times a week, so I know what they're looking for and I know what they're willing to pay. And I am a columnist for Accounting Web, so I do have my finger on the pulse. I actually read what's going on. I have what to say. And I like to think out the box. And I don't charge to share my knowledge. It's free to lift the phone or email me.